We are back for another video. My hair is a mess. I probably look like one of those like trendy teenagers, right? With my hair like in a fucking swoop. Anyways, just got some transmission fluid for the Explorer Sport. We're going to do a transmission service to the 3.5 EcoBoost. And I'm going to show you how to just do that. And you don't need any kind of special jack stands or ramps or anything like that. If you're skinny or you got long arms, you can do this without any of those things. My wife loves this vehicle simply because it's a nice SUV, twin turbocharged V6, and it has plenty of power. This thing drives like a dream when it's working, right? Now watch these RPMs. Wink, wink. Look at that. That bouncing of the needle. All right, so what I've been told and what I've been researching, and I finally found it, the exact imitation of what the problem is. And the exact imitation of what this problem is transmission shudder. Basically servicing the transmission with Lucas Oil transmission fluid conditioner and not that thick honey bottle of Transfix. Those, for me, they're more expensive, and it kind of seems like a snake oil sales. Like, I mean, like they claim it does the one all be all fix and stuff. To me, that just reminds me of like the head gasket fix or whatever. It all seems like smoke and mirrors. They're just trying to sell you on a product that doesn't work or makes things worse. Little did I know that these vehicles actually have a service interval of 30,000 miles. For these 6-speed transmissions, there is no serviceable filter that is immediately accessible for the consumer. You actually have to take the transmission completely apart to access the filter. So that's why I'm adding the conditioner to kind of clean that up a little bit. And what fluid are we going to go with? We're going to go with the Mercon LV and also the automatic transmission fluid conditioner. This will, why I got 6 quarts is just in case we got to top things off where it's not quite to level. We know for a fact that we have enough, more than enough, to level that off so we can be able to drive it. So down there, focus, that is our transmission fluid cap, and the dipstick should be in there. So what we're gonna do is actually, I don't see a whole lot of this, but what we'll do is unplug this and remove the air box. So we have plenty of room to work with that. Now it's important to have an 11mm socket. That's for your trans fluid drain plug. All right, and just make sure you have a drain pan. What else I like to do is lay down cardboard as my little bed sheet. All right, so what you want to do is you want to remove this connection here, and also there's 2 8mm bolts holding in the air box over here towards the front. Yo, look how dirty that air filter is. Yikes. That also might be a contribution to our issues. All right. The airbox itself is kind of a tight pull and a tight squeeze. So here are your 2 retaining grommets here for the bottom of your airbox. You got to pull straight up, both hands, put a little oomph into it, and make sure that this front part right here that's connected to your ductwork for your intake, your air. That part kind of pull back first, then pull up. It's kind of a tight squeeze between the battery and the front here, but it's manageable. You can get it done. All right, now that it's actually wiped down and kind of legible. Oh my gosh, why is that so hard? Okay, I'm not getting a minimum reading on this. Hold the phone. Let's see if I'm not going crazy here. I do not see any fluid on anything. Just the tip. Not good. I just warmed this up too, so this should be a little bit higher than normal. Wow, what a shock. You know, this leads me to believe that dealerships don't even look at this stuff. We took this in on a used car in a Libertyville Lincoln, and they claimed that they did all their stuff. Oh, and that's the best part. They claimed that they did ceramic coating on this car too. And I thought to myself, let me go pour some water on there and actually tell you it's not. They charged $900 for this ceramic coating, and they just put it in the paperwork. I just decided it's late. I want to sign my papers and get out. What a cheap, quick buck to get. Nothing on here has been serviced. Look at this air filter. We haven't had it for even a year. Air filters, come on, in the chat. in the comments. You tell me this does not happen in less than a year. It just doesn't. So here's our transmission. As you can see, you have one here and then another one of the same size over here. What you want is this one right here. This is the lowest point, and this is where you're going to get all your fluid out as much as you can. So with an 11mm socket, I'm not doing this on any jack stands or ramps. Oh, that's on Titan. Hold on. Not doing this on any jack stands or ramps. If you could fit underneath your vehicle like this in park, more power to you, just like me. I'm going to crank that loose. Should not take that much strength at all. So now that's loose enough to finger loosen. So we're just going to slowly, there we go. And that is black. There's a little bit of red. Hold on, let this thing focus. A little bit of red, but holy Christ, that is black brown. Gross. Overdue. Completely overdue. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I've never seen trans fluid this bad before. Ever. That is insane. I've never seen that. That brown? Gross. That's chocolate. That's milk chocolate right there. Nearing dark chocolate. That is yikes. So my shoulder's getting kind of kinked right now. I'm going to step out from this. I'm going to let this drain and do its thing. All right. It has stopped dripping for the most part, so I'm actually going to plug this back up like so. Bring this bolt back in. Set this to tighten. 11mm. Remember 11mm. And what you want to do is you want to just hand tighten this. There is a torque spec for it, but it's a drain plug, guys. So right about there should be good. Give it one little bloop. Should be good. I'll get some paper towel to wipe that off. One thing I can say is that I do appreciate a transmission that's actually serviceable. I mean, come on, think about it. Most transmissions don't even have a drain plug nowadays. I'm looking at you, BMW, Mercedes, Dodge, everybody else. Like, you have to take the whole pan off in order to change the fluid. It's bonkers. It's so dumb. But I can appreciate a serviceable transmission. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this cap off here. We're just gonna, actually, let's not have any risk of metal on metal touching from negative to positive on the battery. That would be a smarter idea. Have our little cup right there. This is why we removed the air box, is because I see some people use longer funnels. But for me, I'm just gonna have it like so right here, so I have all this room to work with to fill in the fluid. So I'm going to put in the transmission fluid conditioner first, and then followed by the actual Mercon. So the directions are simple. You just, at fluid change, simply add this whole bottle. It says for larger, harder working transmissions, use 2 bottles. Okay, we're going to pour our 1 bottle in. Just watch it. You don't want to overflow it and spill or anything like that. This seems, oh, starting to bubble up. Okay. Oh. We want to do it slowly. Slow and steady wins the race for this. Now we're at like 1 1/4. We got liquid at the tip. That's bizarre. Okay. We're going to add a little bit more. So, actually, I was holding it a little bit crooked for the camera. If I do it straight on, as you can see here, we're actually at about 1 1/4 quarts right there. Just a tiny bit more. All right. So, look at that. We are at that minimum right there. Put this dirty air filter back in. We will be replacing that very shortly after we take our first little test drive with the new fluid. Put your airbox lid back on somehow. And once you have your tubing attached, lock her in. Oh, come on. There we go. plug her in. 8mm socket here. And since I wiped it all up, I'm checking underneath for any kind of drips or leaks. I don't see anything kind of dripping off the drain bolt, so I think we're okay there. Buddy, this is milk chocolate. This is Willy Wonka's chocolate river right here. No kidding. Yikes. All right, we got everything back together, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna just start up the car and row through the gears. About 15 to 30 seconds each gear to get things lubricated back up. We'll wanna just cycle through the gears. We got a reverse, drive, and sport. Sport is the same as drive. This doesn't make any difference. I don't think it's a separate gear at all. I think this just tells the computer to add more fuel, more air, whatever, to the engine to give you that more sporty feel. I'm gonna bring this back up to drive, go back to neutral. 1, 2, 3, 4. Go into reverse, back into park. We're gonna leave this running until it gets nice and warmed up. Man, to check the fluids again, I might have to remove the airbox again just to see it. I mean, how am I supposed to reach? What? That's wild. And yes, just as evidence, here's my mess. Here's the car in the driveway. You don't need jack stands, you don't need ramps. If it makes you more comfortable to have ramps, then go ahead and do it. But you don't need it. You can just do this right in your driveway. You hear that? That's the next thing. You see this? That flex pipe? That's the problem. That's what's rattling. It's always nice seeing nice clean stuff when you first install it. Get new maintenance parts or whatever. This air filter is really nice. I like the look of it. Does it do anything better? Probably not. It was what they had available left. All right, back together again, all in one piece. We're gonna do another little test drive. All right, air filter replaced. We're gonna go ahead and take a drive. All right, guys, we're back from our little test drive. I can say for certain that at first I was a little disheartened because I thought to myself, man, this didn't work. But after I got on the highway a little bit, just normal driving, I wasn't giving it the beans or anything, but I gave it a little bit of normal driving. I came back home. I thought to myself, I did not feel it as much. So I went up to my wife with the keys. I said, you're more sensitive to these issues than I am. Sometimes, like, I'm just totally delusional to it. So I gave her the keys. She took it out. She goes, well, it's 90% better. I thought to myself, yeah, I think this might have been the problem, because what's most reported is that it slowly works through the system. You got to give it a little bit of time. There has been some reports of like, oh yeah, it didn't really fix itself until around 50 to 100 miles of driving. And while that might be true, we only did about maybe 10 to 20. Okay, so for me, I'm a little bit more confident now that this has fixed the issue, and it's only going to get better from here. So with that said, don't trust dealerships to be doing any routine maintenance when you're buying something used from the dealership. I bought this used from the Libertyville Lincoln in Illinois, and it was used. They said, oh yeah, we did the inspection, everything is checked out, everything is fine. You saw that air filter. You saw that fluid color. Ain't no way, dude. Ain't no way they looked at that. They didn't even touch it. That was a wash. They took it in on a trade, and then they immediately listed that after taking it through a car wash. Ain't no way that they looked at that thing with any fine-tooth comb, any white glove, nothing. They didn't do anything to that thing except wipe it up clean. That's it. They didn't check any fluids. I checked the engine oil, actually. That's dark too, so now that's due for an oil change. That just goes to show, don't trust these dealerships. They don't know what the hell they're doing. They just want to wash it and resell it. For the rest of you car dealerships out there, please earn some trust from your customers and actually thoroughly check your vehicles before selling it off. We haven't even had this thing a year yet. It is very obvious that this thing was not even looked at as far as fluids are concerned. Dude, an oil change for a dealership is maybe $15, $20 on the docket, right? Change the fluid. Change the transmission fluid. Transmission fluid intervals, Ford owner's manual says one of two things.
every 30,000 miles or every 100,000 miles. That makes zero sense, first of all. This is actually a common enough problem for you guys to actually look at it. So if you guys would have opened up that cap, let it drain, you would have been able to tell right away, because it's not red, that there's a problem and we need to change this fluid anyways. So, with that said, dealerships, give yourselves a little bit more trust in what you guys do by being thorough with a vehicle when you're inspecting it to resell it. When you're buying vehicles from a used car dealership, just make sure that you have the knowledge to check all these things. With the 3.5 twin turbo EcoBoost, I can say check that transmission fluid. We're actually going to do the exhaust rattle on that same Explorer, because that's another common problem with these things. Who knew? Till then, we'll see you guys on the next one.